Breakthrough Real Estate Investing Podcast, episode 87.
Hello, and welcome to the Breakthrough Real Estate Investing Podcast. We put this show together to inspire you and help you break through to the life that you want to live through the power of real estate investing. My name is Rob Brake, and here with me again is Sandy McKay.
Rob?
Hey, what's going on?
Well, same old stuff, kind of. I'm busy with everything, building the portfolio and whatnot, as hopefully a lot of our listeners are doing.
Yeah. I took a break for a little while, and but now I'm back at it. So I'm pumped. I just got something under contract yesterday.
Perfect.
So,
you want to share a bit, or?
Typical. Just we're gonna add a second suite to a single family here in town. So just following our bread and butter. It's gonna be a good one though.
Nice. That's in Oshawa?
It's in Oshawa, yeah.
Perfect. Well, for anyone who's a first-time listener or hasn't heard it, or you just want to repeat it again, go over to our website, breakthroughreapodcast.ca. Pick up our free report there, The Ultimate Strategy for Building Wealth Through Real Estate, and you can get on our email list as well to hear about all of our upcoming events and property tours, all that sort of fun stuff. So go grab that today if you haven't already.
And we would encourage everybody as well to go over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review, even if it's not 5 stars, although most people are leaving 5-star reviews for us, Sandy. Most people like it, but we are interested in what you have to say. So if you have some suggestions for us, or you just have a comment about one of the episodes, then yeah, please feel free to go over there to iTunes and let us know what you think. And as well, subscribe to the podcast because it lets everybody else know about the show. It gets us out there to lots of other people. We can have some more great guests like the one we have today, which I'm super excited about, Susan White Livermore. And we're going to get to her in just a minute. But so go over there to iTunes and subscribe and leave us some comments.
What else we got? Anything else? Any other housekeeping, or can we get to the interview? What else we got?
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, I should just mention that if you subscribe to that email list that Cindy was talking about earlier over on our website, you'll get info on all of our events that we have. I know Sandy's got events every once in a while. I'm doing property tours usually twice a month. So if you're interested in just getting out there, meeting us, or coming to one of these events and just learning about stuff, then everyone should just get on our email list, and you can keep up to date with everything that's going on. But yeah, no, I think that's it. And like I said, I'm really excited to have Susan here, and she's been waiting patiently there. So hi, Susan.
Hello.
And how are you?
Thank you for having me. Very good. Very good. Can't complain. As you can see, I'm sitting in my car waiting to go to the next thing, but happy to be here.
What's the next thing?
I'm going to see a private sale after this. So.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And do you think it's something that you're going to be interested in, or?
I'm going to offer on the spot without me seeing the place, to be honest. I've done this particular house multitude of times. It's the same model, and I do really well with it. So as soon as I Googled it on Google, the Google Maps, that's what I was looking for. I was like, that it's a no-brainer for me because I knew what the price was going in. So
okay,
I'm excited.
That's awesome. And we'll get to exactly what that looks like maybe in the interview here. So, well, Sandy, I think you've got a bio there for Susan, don't you?
I thought I did, and then I actually don't. So, Susan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background in real estate and how you got started?
How I got started. You know what? I really got started because of my brother, who's 6 years younger than me. He, at the age of 21, decided he was going to buy a house to live in while he was going to school. And I remember thinking at the time, how are you going to do this? You don't have any credit. You don't have a job. You don't have any money. How are you going to make this happen? Well, he did this thing called finding joint venture partners. Didn't know what it was at the time, but went out and found people to buy the property with him. He managed it, filled it with 5 other people. They held that property for 5 years and made $100,000 on it. And I remember thinking back, why didn't I do that? Like, it was brilliant at the time, right? And So I was just inspired. He sold that property and immediately bought another house in behind Georgian College in Barrie, Ontario. Called me up and said, hey, I'm going to buy a property. I bought another property, and I was like, not this time. This time I'm jumping in. So he was my inspiration. And so then I just got into it. I dabbled into it without any education for the tune of about 3 properties. Got bored, then got hit with the 2008 recession, lost a lot of money in the mortgage or in the mutual fund world, and decided that maybe this thing called real estate had some potential, because my properties, although they weren't increasing in value, I was still getting mortgage pay down and I was still getting cash flow each month. So to me, it seemed like a good option for this dwindling pension that we had in the mutual funds. So went out and educated myself, and since 2009 have been doing it sort of full time.
Since 2009?
Yeah, well, I started in 2006, but full time in 2009. And, you know, I had a 3-month in hand and 2 other kids. And yeah, my real intention initially was just to solve our pension problem, because at the rate we were going, I didn't see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's how I got started.
Perfect. So we managed to find your bio here now. So let Sandy go into that.
Well, I got a few things to run through, because there's a few awards. We want to make sure people know what you've done, and you know, you're kind of modest with what you've went through there. So I mean, you're in Newcomer of the Year from Canadian Real Estate Wealth Magazine 2011. You're a top player in Real Estate Investment Network 2012. You're the Millionaire Mom, I guess is what you're known as. And,
yeah, my new moniker.
Yeah, and you do some coaching and teaching from the stage. I think you had some presentations. You do have do you have a private coaching group or something like that you run?
I'm doing one-on-one right now. I'm in the midst of finishing my book. So until that's done, I've been kind of holding myself back from getting involved in too much, but I have been doing one-on-one coaching. And we'll continue to do that, and some joint venture partners I just started up again since my book's almost done. But yeah, that's and doing a lot of talks, going out and talking a lot lately, which has been a ton of fun to get back out into that world again.
Yeah, I just saw you, I guess about almost a month ago now, but that was really cool. I like that talk. That was great.
Thank you.
I can't, and every time I go out to Durham REI, I just love the speakers. So, but it was great to see you there.
They do a good job.
Okay, let's jump into the, we touched on it a little bit before we actually started the show, because you were telling us you're sitting in your car and you're waiting to go out and you're looking at you're going to go look at a property. Now you say you've done this kind of property a couple of times. So talk to us about what that property looks like and what you're actually going to do with it.
I'm going to build it into a legalized suite. So that, like yourself, is very much my bread and butter. I used to do a ton of rent to own studio properties. I started building legalized suites in Calgary, of all places. No, I didn't live there. I just went out there and started building them there when the market was crazy hot. Came back here to Barrie, and now I build them here. I do a lot of private sales, some wholesaling. Probably done 75 to 85 transactions in different formats over the last 9 years. Okay,
so the one that you're going to see, you say you really like it and you already know the style and everything. So what is it? What is that one that you're going to see?
Oh, it's a I love to do 3 up, 2 down. The reason why this one happens to be a bungalow, and I really change what I'm buying based on what the market's doing. So in 2017, when the market was crazy hot, I couldn't buy what I'm about to buy right now because the prices were way too high. So I was all over the semi-detached in 2017 because I was buying anything under 350 or so. They were very much the first-time home buyers, and I was building legalized suites there. So I would take a semi-detached and kind of do a diagonal cut and build a 2 up, 2 down, and maybe buy it for up to 350 max, and ended up reappraising for about 460. Now, because the single family houses have come down in value, I'm able to get single family houses at under the 400 mark, and then I can bring them up to between 500, 530 in there, 550 depending. So I prefer the single family houses. It's just it wasn't feasible back in 2017. And the beauty thing about, I know now I'm rambling, choosing in 2017, it was really hard to buy anything. The beauty thing about what I was buying back then, those prices haven't dropped. So the semi-detached have maintained their value because there's so many people still coming in at that price point. But we have seen, they're steady now, but the single family houses have dropped a bit. And now I would say they're steady, but in 2018, they definitely dropped $40,000, $50,000.
Well, I'm really surprised to hear you say that in 2017 you were still buying semis for 350, because what market is that in?
Barrie.
Barrie, yeah, because you couldn't find anything like that around here. That was
you had to move quickly, and they usually needed TLC.
Yeah, for sure. So now, there was a whole bunch of stuff you glazed over, and if you don't mind, I'm going to go back and dig a little bit deeper into that thing, because
no worries.
I feel like a lot of people are going to be a little bit lost, especially if they're just starting out. So when you said you did sort of a diagonal split on these,
okay.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So what does that look like exactly?
Okay, so I'm taking a 2-story semi-detached,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the tenants will come in through the front of the house. They'll probably get half of the main floor, and they will get all of the upstairs. And so sometimes their kitchen and family room is on the main floor. Sometimes just their kitchen is on the main floor. The master bedroom sometimes becomes the family room, and then there's 2 bedrooms and a bathroom already upstairs. Then coming around the back of the house, the lower suite tenants would come in through the back. That what used to be the family room would turn into the family room kitchen. We'd go down to the basement. We'd put a bathroom, 4-piece bathroom. I'm big on putting in tubs in anything that has 2 bedrooms or more. So I'll put in a 3-foot tub if need be. And 2 bedrooms in the basement, and usually the laundry will go underneath the stairs in the basement, and in the kitchen wherever upstairs.
Mm-hmm. And what's the reason that you're so adamant about having the tub?
I just want to keep options open for young families, and it's harder for young families to bathe children in a shower. So I'll get the smallest tub I can, just so that they have some place for little ones to bathe. And I open that market up for little people.
Right. So you're saying essentially if you were to put a shower in there, then you'd cut off a lot of the potential tenants.
I turn them away. They're not necessarily not going to take it, but I just make their life a lot easier by putting in a 3-foot tub than just doing a shower.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could see that. You can't move in there with a newborn and, a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old and bathe them properly without that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
just, yeah. I find probably one of my biggest tenants are divorced parents, dads or moms. So any way I can help out is kind of what I'm after.
And then I may let Sandy talk in like 1 more minute, but one more thing to say here. So you talked just a little bit about the numbers, right? So now you can buy a detached, which is what you're going to look at now, and it's a bungalow, right? So you mentioned you were talking about price you would get it for and what you were going to refinance it for, even though I think you said you could pull out or something like that. You used different terms. So talk a little bit about the numbers that you think you're going to get on this new project.
Okay, so I'm buying it below market, but I'm buying it privately. So I'm hoping to get it for $375. By the time I'm done with it, I haven't seen it yet. I'm assuming I'll have to put in $80,000 into it. It'll probably, the appraisals have been interesting. So it'll probably appraise for 400 or 500 to 520.
That's when you're done.
So ideally I'll be able to pull out somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000. But if I were to sell it, I'd probably sell it for no less than 530, maybe a little higher.
Okay, so what you're saying is you go in, you buy it for $375 roughly.
Yeah.
You're putting in $75,000. So now you're into it for $450.
That's right.
And you would be able to refinance it once everything is done, you think, for about $550.
No, that would be the
520
sale price, 500.
Around
500 to
500.
520.
Okay.
The sale price would be closer to 550.
So you'd be able to pull out about $50,000 in it for less than $50,000 of what you would put into it if you were to just buy it turnkey.
Yes. Yes.
Roughly.
Yes.
Which is great, right? Because I mean, if you're going to
Excellent.
buy something for 500 grand, then you're looking at putting 100 grand into it. Where now, if you're doing it your way, you're really only in it for about half that much.
That's correct. That's correct.
And you've got to set up exactly how you want it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, I like both.
Well, the money
Both
part's
are
good too,
bonus.
yeah.
Yeah.
How do you, I think a lot of people would be interested in how we've talked about it's a private deal. How do you find deals like that? How do you come across these type of opportunities typically?
I've tried lots of different ways. I know people do the, they go online. I'm old school. Old school works for me. I've sent out a lot of different flyers to different houses. I send it through the mail. And I've done professional stuff and I've done, non-professional stuff. I've typed stuff up. What works best for me is for me to just be open and honest about who I am. I give them my full name. I tell them how long I live there. I've lived in the city for. I handwrite it. I tell them what I'm looking for. I tell them that I've already bought in their area. And I say, I'm looking for a semi-detached or single-family detached, and it needs to be this size. I don't care what it looks like. I need 2 parking spots. And I put boxes beside each thing I look for. I do it in my hot pink paper because that's my thing. And I allow people to check, yeah, that's me. Yep, that's me. That's me. The more you can get them to say, yes, that's me, the higher the chance that you're going to get them to call you. Plus, you're also eliminating those calls. I'm very protective of my time, and I want to eliminate as many useless calls as possible. So I want people to self-select based on what I'm asking for. And so most of the time, the calls that I get are huge potentials. And I would say for everyone that I send out, within 2 weeks of sending it out, I might get 1 or 2 that I actually act on. And then people will hold on to it. And I've picked up deals 2 years after I've sent out the flyer. So it's like, oh, I forgot I sent that flyer to that area. But it's cool. Like, you just never know.
That's great. So I like that you've given the criteria right in, and it's like, listen, hey, unless you have this, don't even bother calling me.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I just trying to protect my time as much as possible, and to be honest with them, not to waste
because
their
I mean, there is a criteria that you need, and if it doesn't meet it, then there's not really any point in looking at it.
Yeah.
Did you send those out like blanket across the whole neighborhood, or are you targeting specific houses in a neighborhood with that?
When you send them out with the mail, you have to choose a whole carrier's area. So I'll pick the streets. I actually don't do it. My assistant does it. So I'll pick the streets. She'll go into the post office and say, okay, she wants these streets, and these streets. And they will assign it to those particular carriers. And I usually send out about 1,000 at a time. I have one particular area that I love, and I do really well in this particular area. The other thing I like is the old school where that goes directly to the house as opposed to the mailboxes. People think I actually went door to door. So that's kind of an extra bonus for them to incentivize them to call you.
Very good. No, I do something similar. It's been a long time since I've done the mailers like that, but I love driving around.
Yeah.
And if I find something, I'll put something in the mailbox.
Yeah. I find that route, I actually get an even higher response. I won't drive. I go for a walk. I'll pick a new neighborhood and go for a walk. And there's been times where I've brought 10 flyers with me and I'll get 6 calls.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And one more note on the private stuff. Are you buying a lot of them through private sales like that, or are you doing mix of that and MLS?
I have not bought anything on MLS this year. I to be honest, I've only wholesaled this year, just because I've been really trying to stay focused on that book. I'm not doing a great job of it, but I'm trying. So I've been wholesaling, and they've all been private sales from stuff that I had sent out in the fall.
I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I think that we've talked about wholesaling and stuff on other episodes. So if people don't know what that is, then you have to go back and look up some wholesaling stuff. But essentially, it means that you are getting a purchase and sale agreement on a house, like the one you're going to today. You're agreeing to buy it, and then lots of people who would love to have that property. So you'll be willing to assign it to them for a small or a nominal price.
Could be large, yeah.
Yeah, it could be large. Okay. You got the next one?
Well, we've talked about the properties, basically. I think we've pretty much covered the types of properties you invest in. What are the challenges then that hold you back from buying real estate?
When I first got started in real estate investing, I knew I wanted to jump in, but I was afraid to do it alone. So it was kind of the blind meeting the blind. So I asked my dad to join me, even though I had all the money and all the credit, and we even had the property picked out. I was afraid to do it myself. And then once I had gotten into real estate investing, and I decided that I was going to do this full time, I went and educated myself. And then I for a year, I couldn't buy anything. I got stuck in this fear of all the things that could go wrong. And I wasn't taking action until I eventually had told enough people, people started asking me, well, what are you doing now? And I said, I'm buying real estate. Well, I had bought nothing for a year because I was so afraid of jumping in on my own. Eventually, I just jumped in and ended up I got caught in a rent to own that went bad. But I learned a ton from that rent to own. And I think it's probably the best thing that could have happened for me, because all those things I had worried about prior to getting into it in the first place, I realized, hey, I went through it, I survived, and I made a ton of money, even though all those things did happen. So it really gave me confidence that, this thing called real estate, provided you're buying in the right market, you can make mistakes and you can do things incorrectly, but the market, you can tweak things and the market will help you along the way, provided you are not giving up and you're focusing and you're looking for solutions along the way. That answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. So really for you is mindset, I guess, or fear that was holding you back. So do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think go ahead.
I was just going to say, so do you think that that's a pretty common thing that would hold somebody back?
I think it's the number one thing that holds people back. I mean, if you really want to, you can find a deal anywhere. And if you really want to, there is money to be had anywhere. Like, it's just a matter of It's a numbers game. If you ask enough people, sooner or later, somebody's going to give you the money. If you look at enough deals, sooner or later, you're going to find a deal that's working. What holds people back is that fear of failure, stepping outside their comfort zone. The people that are at the greatest disadvantage, if you ask me, are those people that have a very cushy, very comfy, make great money. Really hard for them to step out and get into real estate, and especially if they're thinking about doing it on a full-time basis. They're too comfortable. And when you're that comfortable, it's hard to put yourself at a risk that'll take you away from that comfort zone. I think the people that are able to make the easiest choices are the ones that are completely dissatisfied with where they are and need to make big changes and willing to take that risk in order to solve it. But if you're very comfortable, it's harder.
Well, that's okay then. I mean, I think it's, those people can stay in their cushy jobs. and the
Absolutely. We need those too.
So how would you suggest that somebody gets over their fear? Because let me tell you, like, I bought enough properties myself, and the fear does not go away.
No.
And so how do we accept it and still keep moving forward anyway?
I think one of the first things to do is to have a really strong network, because I believe, and I know I'm jumping into other stuff right now, but I believe that no matter what situation you get yourself into, there isn't someone out there that hasn't gone through it and could give you advice on how to maneuver your way through whatever problem you get yourself into. That would be the number one thing I would say. If you're really, really scared, don't do it alone. Go get yourself a coach. Go get yourself another investor to partner with so that you don't feel alone. I would be very particular about the market that you're in. If you know that you have a growing market, you know you can make some mistakes and still survive. You're not going to lose a ton of, well, you can, but the chances are that the market will help you along. But if you're in a market where people are moving out of that market and you've bought poorly, you're in trouble. Other things, I mean, you're not going to know until you jump in. And the more you do it, the more confidence you build. You're going to make mistakes. And if you can step back and learn from those mistakes and not allow those mistakes to go in vain, it becomes empowering, because you're like, wow, I made it through that. For me, one of my biggest mistakes is I allowed a property manager from Calgary take me for $35,000. I survived it, and those properties are still doing fine. I was able to find another property manager very quickly, move them over, and that is scary for a lot of people. A lot of people will not invest somewhere else because, like, what if that happens? Well, it happened to me, and I'm okay. I survived. I found a solution. They did not take me down. It's just, real estate can be a very steady way of creating wealth. You just have to have the mindset, don't panic, start asking questions, start using your resources when things go wrong, as they will, but that's what people are out there for. And you got to be able to give as much as you're willing to receive. So if people are asking for you for solutions, give as much as you can, because then you can expect the same back when things don't go well for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the really interesting things you said there is partner with somebody. And a lot of people go, well, I've never bought a place. Like, why would someone want to partner with me? And there's a million different ways to structure a co-venture, or joint venture, or partnership, or whatever you want to call it. And that could just be simply that both of you share in it 50-50, right?
50-50, yep.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I've done multitude of different ways of joint venturing, and sometimes I'll bring a joint venture partner on. They'll put in all of the money. They'll get the mortgage. But what they really want from me is the coaching on how to do the deal. I'll walk you through whatever you want to know. But then I'm there holding your hand if need be. And that's a way you can learn. So maybe the next time you want to do it on your own. Maybe not. It's okay. Just get in. Sitting on the sidelines, you're getting nowhere fast.
So what do you think was one of the, like, you've struggled to buy real estate, right? I guess you get to a certain point where maybe you've run out of, you can't qualify on your own anymore or whatever. Like, how have you struggled?
Yeah, absolutely. I struggled with getting mortgages. Absolutely. I think one of the first things I do is I keep my ear to the ground as to where the opportunities for mortgages are. So my preference is always to pick them up myself if I possibly can. And I have had some success, be it through private lending and jumping onto commercial mortgages. I've done a few of those. And if all else fails, then I've started to bring in mortgage qualifiers. So I'll give them a small percentage of the property in order to get the mortgage for it, or just bring in joint venture partners. It's about creativity, and it's about getting a piece of the pie as opposed to no pie at all. So just because I can't get a mortgage doesn't mean I'm going to stop. I still got these amazing opportunities. So bringing people in is what I will do in whatever format they're willing to do.
So for you, I feel like it's almost like struggling to buy real estate is if you're not like currently in a deal. That sounds like that's your struggle.
Not having a deal?
Yeah, no, not having a deal, not having an opportunity, but I think you see opportunity everywhere.
Absolutely.
So to me, it feels like it's like you feel like you're being slowed down unless you're in something at any given moment. That's
correct? That would be fair. And to be honest, over the last 3 months, as I'm handing deals over to investor friends of mine, I've been gritting my teeth a little bit because I know the potential and know the fun that can be had in building legalized suites, but I'd committed to my ghostwriter to finish my book. So, but yeah, it's not about finding the deals. It's not about finding the investors. It's about how creative can you be. And, once you've been in this business for a while, it's kind of like building a snowball, and it becomes momentum. Initially, it's hard. You've got to put the snow together. You got to push it together. You got to push it, and then you're rolling it, and you're pushing it. You're pushing it. You're pushing it. But eventually, you'll find a hill, and the hill, it starts to go down the hill. It grabs momentum, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, sometimes you have to direct it, but it's you do, once you've been in this business for a while, it builds its own momentum, and it's only limited by the amount of creativity that you have and the reputation that you have. Reputation is huge. You set the wrong reputation and your business is going to start to crumble. But if you've got that right reputation and you're kind of directing it, and you're looking at all the different ways that you can be creative and hanging out with really creative people, the opportunities, the skies are the limits.
That is awesome. I love it. Now we got some advice in there, like that the sky's the limit, and we got some practical, points. I think we're on the right track here.
Very good.
Well, what other advice do you think you could give for our listeners if they're interested but struggling with kind of making that first step or that leap into everything? How do they get into that? How do they do it? How do they get over that hump?
The first thing you need to do is make the decision that I'm going to do that. And I'm going to buy a real estate property. And a lot of people say it, but you won't know that you've actually made the decision until that fear starts to rise within you. When you know you've got fear happening because you're stepping outside your comfort zone, you've made the decision. And then don't let that fear go away. That fear is a good thing. That fear I equate it to excitement. It's the same experience you have when you're in fear, you have in excitement. Recognize it as excitement. Go out and find a deal. Don't let that fear go away. Act on it immediately and pursue it until you've closed on a deal. Whether you have to do that with somebody else, whether you have to find a joint venture partner, I don't know. Just don't let that fear go away. And if you need to, find a coach. If the fear is overwhelming, find yourself a coach. There are plenty of people out there with lots of seasoned experience that can help you through these processes. Get a strong realtor that ideally that invests in real estate themselves and understands the real estate market, especially when you're first starting. But make sure that you're checking what they say. So you want to, if they tell you that a property could rent for this amount, go check with a property manager, make sure that those numbers add up. Because there are realtors out there, or not realtors, I shouldn't give, you need, at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. You need to check your own due diligence. If you got information, check it. It's your responsibility to check, to verify, and you check with different sources as to what, just to verify what the information that you've been given actually is.
Yeah, I would agree though too. I mean, you definitely have to do your own due diligence regardless of what someone else tells you. Like, for example, even with you, like you're wholesaling a property, there very well might be some piece of the information that you don't have. Those people that buy that property are responsible for making sure that they can do what they want to do with the place, right?
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Okay, so so you do offer some coaching, right? Like,
I do.
Tell us a little bit about that. What do you have to offer? And
right?
You know what? Sorry,
Yeah.
before you start, I know you said that you were sort of in the middle of something that's not quite done yet. Now, I mean, this is going to come out relatively soon, but you got to remember, people are going to be listening to it in the future. So don't be afraid to give out that info as well.
The book,
whatever, your program, any programs that you have coming out. Go ahead and say it.
So what I'm doing right now, what I'm making available, because I am planning courses following the book, but I have people coming to me and they just don't want to wait, and I don't blame them. If you've got the momentum now, you want to take action now, do it now. So right now what I'm offering is 6-hour coaching. It's phone coaching. It comes with homework before your first call. And that homework, what I would say is that homework isn't just for that day. I expect once you get that homework started, that homework you will be doing for a lifetime as long as you're investing in real estate. Because it's homework that is habit building, so to speak. So they get 6-hour phone calls with me. If they're in the area, they will get access to my team. I don't go out and do tours. I will at a price if they need me out at a tour of something that they've bought. But traditionally, I typically don't do that. I'll send them out to stuff that I'm working on, and my contractor will walk them through it. But you're getting a plethora of information. Not only are you getting the real estate investing part of things, which I believe is, the 40% how-tos, I probably spend 60% of my time on mindset. Understanding where your thought process might be holding you back, changing your language. Instead of saying I want or I'd like, using the term I am, because you need to see it and believe it before you're actually going to live it. So, and I'm a big believer in that. So we spend a lot of time, the 6 hours, I'm generous with those 6 hours, to be honest. So that is available. They can get in touch with me on my website at millionairemom.co, not .com. I'm working on that. .co. There is a form that they can fill out to get into the coaching, or you can email me directly. at susan@millionairemom.co. My book is coming out, and the first one is called Seriously, It's That Easy, and it's about millionaire moms' path to creating wealth in real estate and life. So it's a lot about the how-tos, the basic how-tos of buying real estate, as well as the necessary mindset in order to become successful in real estate investing. And then the third thing that there will be a course following the book. We're looking at a weekend course, and it'll be a lot of the how-tos for basic real estate investing, as well as the mindset training and coaching. Things like building your vision statement, and it's a little different than what you might see in the other areas. Building a mantra that will keep you going regardless. Like when you have a bad day, I give myself a mantra I go through this mantra, and it just changes my frame of mind. Recognizes that I'm thinking in this narrow pathway when there's all these opportunities around me, but because of what's going on in my immediate vision, this is all I see. I use that mantra just to get me out and thinking bigger, different, and starting to see things from different perspectives. And it's in those different perspectives that we see where the opportunity for improvement, correction, whatever you need might be. So those are the three things that I am coming out with right now. And I know I'm doing some talks in the fall, but they haven't been nailed down at this point in time.
Awesome. That's a lot of good stuff. So we'll put all that that info there and the links in our show notes so people can look those up and get them and hopefully
Excellent.
Connect with you further.
Thanks.
What advice then would you give to new investors? What's some of the biggest pieces of advice you can give them?
Big advice. Number one, building a large network. So you want a network of other investors that you can go to. Investing is not a competitive thing. And if you see investing as a competitive thing, that there's not enough to go around, you're missing out on so many opportunities. But if you can start networking, listening to podcasts, going out to networking investment groups, meeting with other investors, that is where you're going to find solutions. You're going to find opportunities. You are going to learn things that you won't get on your own. Often stuff that is very unique to your own market, which you might not get in a book, or you might not get on a podcast that goes across the country. But having those people to talk to when things don't go well is key, and getting into bigger and better opportunities. I had an investor call me up a couple weeks ago, and we went out for drinks, and at the end of the conversation, I landed in an 8-plex that I had no intention of ever getting involved in, but you just never know. It just kind of made too much sense not to do it. So creating a network of people that are doing this is important. The other thing I would also be really keen on, and this is a mindset thing, is be careful who you hang out with. It's really hard to get into this world when you're hanging out with people that think investing in real estate is not a great idea, that they're constantly trying to keep you away from risk, we'll call it. They've heard all the horror stories and they want to protect you. Well, if you really want to do this, hanging out with those people is not helping you. You want to build a network of people, usually the 5-6 people that you spend most of your time with. Start building those on people that do more, that inspire you, that push you, that when you hang out with them, you start to see what potential you could have in your world. And they help you to think bigger as opposed to think smaller or the same. Because if you're not moving forward, you can't stay still. You're either moving forward or you're going backwards. So find those people that are helping you to move forward, that are empowering you, that are inspiring you, that believe in you. That is probably the other number one thing that I would be really, and that takes time, and that takes an acceptance that the friends you have today are highly likely not going to be the friends you're going to have 5-10 years from now, because your world changes. And at some point it becomes an acceptance. What like when I talk about real estate investing, I love hanging out with my friends from high school, but they don't want to listen to me talk real estate 24/7. And that's fair, but we talk about a lot of the same stuff we were talking about 10-15 years ago, but I love them dearly, but it's probably not helping to build my business. I needed to find those people that had bigger and brighter and creative ideas.
Okay, yeah, and I really do think that is probably one of the biggest things, is networking with people, because any problem, well, first of all, let me just say this, that especially around here, and I mean, I'm talking about Southern Ontario, it's quite a large area, but the group of investors is quite small, and we all run into each other all the time, right? So no
Absolutely, it's a small world.
Yeah, I'm usually seeing the same people, and for the most part, those are good people. Like you said,
Yes.
like these are all people that just wanted to do something more for themselves, and they've gotten into this, and they've learned from all these other people who are there to help out and be a support group for each other. So yeah, definitely one of the most important things that people can do.
Yeah.
Now,
kudos for you to put this together, because this is huge for people. If they, particularly when they are starting out on their own, this could be your fifth person listening to this stuff on a daily basis. Could be your fifth person. And so kudos to you for I know that these things are a lot of time and energy, but it's great to help those people that are really trying to get into this world and understand that there are others out there doing this.
Originally, we started out, Sandy and I, because we wanted to talk to you and other people like you, right, and learn what you guys know. So it was almost like a selfish reason that we started it out. But
doesn't matter.
Yeah, but no, it really does seem to help, and we're happy to do it. Now, one last question here, or well, maybe there's a couple more, but we'll get through them. So,
Okay.
So do you work with joint venture partners? You do, right?
Absolutely. In whatever format they want to work in.
Okay, so that was what I was going to ask. So what kind of joint venture partnership are you looking for? Who would your ideal partner be?
My favorite is, I don't know. I would say my favorite is the easiest, the one with lots of money, lots of credit, and loves to hear my feedback. So I love to, oh my God, I want to be able to call somebody up and give them all the good news, right? And them to get excited about the good news, because I feed off of their energy. So high energy with good credit and good money is my favorite. Second favorite is, okay, I don't want to hear from you that often. Fine, that's fine. Third,
that's them saying they don't want to hear from you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
oh, okay.
Yeah. They don't care. Just send me my check. That's fine. I do like coaching. I love coaching. I love inspiring other people. So the joint venture partner who actually wants to learn, and because I could talk I don't know if you've realized yet, but I could talk real estate investing 24/7. And my family has had more than their fair share. So anyone that's willing to listen, I love to coach. So I do like to take on joint venture partners that want to come in and learn. And then I like to help people out. Like I can see someone really wants to get in, but they're afraid. So I do the baby steps. I will say, okay, why don't, for this one, you just lend me money for the rentals? We'll do a a second mortgage or a promissory note. I'll hold your money and use your money for a reno for 5 months, whatever it is. You'll get your money. You got your feet wet. You got a comfort level there. Maybe the next time you want to just be the mortgage qualifier. So you get in, you become the mortgage qualifier. You're comfortable with that. You've got a little bit more, your feet a little bit deeper. And then maybe you want to be the full joint venture partner where you come in and I'll find the deal. I'll put the deal together. You put in the money and you put in the credit and you get 50% ownership. So I don't really care.
Lots of different structures.
For me, it's what do I need at that time? And if someone's really interested and they're a good fit for me, I'm not going to deny them. I'm a big believer in when I do a joint venture agreement, it's a handshake first. I want to feel like I never have to pull that agreement out. The only reason I actually feel the need to sign one is if something happened to me or something happened to them. I don't want to be dealing with confusion with their family or my family. But for me, the relationship has to be very trustworthy right from the beginning. So, and I don't know if I call them friends, but people that I enjoy working with, right? And yeah, I guess you can call them friends, whatever. But joint venture partners are, I'm there as much to help them get to their goal as they are to help me get to mine. So I have been buying a lot on my own for cash and then, okay, I'll bring in a joint venture partner. Do I need to? No. Would this help them take the step that they need to step in on their own? Sometimes the answer is yes. And then if that's the case, I'm more likely to bring them in as a joint venture partner than go it alone because I feel like I'm helping them get to where they need to be. And that jazzes me.
I like it. It's win-win-win.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so and you know what we haven't really done justice to, like, you've been a full-time real estate investor for 10 years.
Yes.
That is huge. I don't know if there's many people that we've talked to that could say that. I don't we would have to go back and look through, but I would say there's probably not many. And that is just an amazing accomplishment in and of itself. So congratulations for that.
Thank you. I also have 3 kids.
3 kids, that's right. We didn't touch on it. The Millionaire mom. Let's talk about your family.
Yeah, I have 3 kids that are in very competitive, probably the most competitive sports that you can get into. So they keep me hopping both financially and with my time. So to say that I work my real estate business full time is kind of unfair. I probably work 15 to 20 hours, but billed at a rate that most people it would take them full-time hours to do. It's just because I hire out for just about everything. But if I don't like doing it, I won't do it.
But also, you've learned that over time. You didn't start out that way, I'm sure.
No.
Yeah, this has been a process.
Time and necessity, because I was quickly getting myself out of the business if I had continued to go on as the way I was going, because I was trying to do it all and burning myself out and getting my family to dislike me intensely.
Yeah. And so that's another thing that we need to mention to people is, like, although it's fun and although it's personal relationships and all that stuff, this is definitely a business and people need to treat it that way. And I think that you probably wouldn't have gotten where you are if you didn't treat it as a business, build it, grow it, make sure it had systems, all that kind of stuff. And treat it the way that it deserves to be treated. So, and that being said, guys, we do encourage you to go over and check out Susan's courses and click on some of the links that we put in the show notes so you can learn more about her. Now, how can people get in touch with you if they want to?
Millionairemom.co is the website. You can find me on, you can email me directly at susan@millionairemom.co. You can find me on Instagram at millionaire_mom_enterprises. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn as Millionaire Mom. Yeah, those are probably all the ways. My book writer would probably be able to give you more, but that's off the top of my head. That's what I know is available right now.
Well, if they can't get in touch with you, one of those ways they're doing something wrong. So
Yes.
we should be able to get people in touch with you. And like Sandy said earlier, all this stuff is going to be in the show notes. So if you didn't get a chance to write it down, just go over to the link for the show notes and you can just click on them and you'll be able to get in touch with Susan. So thanks very much for sharing everything. Really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Sandy,
yeah, thanks, Susan. That was awesome.
Thanks.
How can people get in touch with you, Sandy?
info@mckrealtynetwork.com or 289-389-6846.
And I would just encourage anyone that wants to get in touch with me, maybe come on a property tour, to just email me at rob@mrbreakthrough.ca. So again, thank you, Susan. Really appreciate it. And everyone have a great day.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye now.